Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. I'm Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn Through Racing Network, and tonight we have a good one here. It is the YellowHammer 225 at Talladega. That's right, Dega Superspeedway right here, right now. One of the biggest wild cards on the schedule. Gonna be settled here tonight. And I tell you what, it is awesome to see here tonight. I believe 34 cars right now on the premise ready to do battle. And especially with a super speedway race, any one of those drivers could walk away with the checkered flag here tonight. 85 laps going to be the distance here. We'll see who will be the first to cross the start-finish line at the end of those 85 laps. But before we do that, we got to head on over to qualifying here tonight. Of course, like we've seen all season, we get 5 minutes, but here on the super speedways, only one lap counts here. So driver's going to have one complete lap, and that will set the starting lineup here tonight. And starting position will have a little bit of factor into this one, as this many cars here tonight. It's going to be a great one to watch as we kick on over to qualifying and wait for the first cars to hit the racetrack here. It looks like one of the first cars to head to the racing surface is that 21 GStone machine of Rob Lowell. So we'll see what he can run and see where times will fall. And I believe it's right around, I want to say like a 50.6 or so. We'll see if I'm off at all with that, but as we see the 21 machine here start to get up to speed and interesting down here in 3 and 4, not going up to the top to make that track just that little bit wider so you can get those 1 or 2 extra RPMs, because here in qualifying, time's going to be absolutely right on top of one another. As here we go, the 21 machine now on the clock, going to have his one lap here in qualifying, and that will be what sets the starting lineup here tonight. Right now, I want to say about 25 other drivers here out on the racetrack trying to put down a time, so we'll see where everyone files on out. But heading down the backstretch, the Talladega super stretch there for the 21 machine. So we'll head back into the banking there of 3 and 4. And now we'll head off of 4 for the final time here in qualifying. And of course, like we know here at Talladega, instead of the start finish line being right in the tri-oval, there's about a 200 extra feet right here in the racetrack that could always shake things up when it comes time to that finish, as the 21 machine will throw down at 54.04, and right now it is Joe Hudson, now Kenny Reel with the quick time, so a lot of times here being thrown on in right now. We take a look here at the driver that won last week. That was the 38 machine of Chad Coleman. So Coleman looking to go 2 in a row on Sunday nights here, as we'll see where the 38 car can go. And interesting, we see Coleman there running kind of the middle, almost top side here. So we'll see what he can do. So Coleman there will take the green flag. His lap will start right now. It is Shannon Wood with a great time now, being bumped off by CVS, the 41 machine with the quick time, with a longer last name there. Maybe a little bit of overlap, but that is a 53.88 for the pole time here by the 41 machine. We'll see if he can get dethroned. About now 5 cars still on the racing surface, still have time to make that lap. Still about a minute left here, so as long as you're rolling, you should be able to get that lap here. As here we go, Coleman through the tri-oval to the start finish line. Coleman will go P number 2 of 53.89. So right now it is Chuck Van Chyk with the pole, or CVS as I like to say. Chad Coleman with the P number 2 spot, Shannon Wood third, Kenny Reel fourth, and Steve Ritter in the top 5 currently with about 45 seconds left in this one. It will be close for this guy right here, just going down the back straightaway. Brandon Guerin here in the 1 machine. Gonna have to get to the start finish line in the next 30 seconds. Should be able to just do so as he now exits turn number 4 here. As we'll see Guerin here cross the start finish line, the 1 car will jump up to 23rd there with a 54.01. So through this field, quick time of 53.88. Then all the way back to 30th is a 54.14. That's how close the times are. But here tonight, the 41 machine of Charles Van Chyk going to be tonight's quick time and Riptide Radio Pole Award. And speaking about some Riptide Radio cool stuff, Riptide Radio going to be sending the driver of the 41 machine here a Riptide Radio shirt. So thanks again to Riptide Radio and the cool stuff they have to offer. Be sure to check them out at riptideradio.com for some of the best beach and boogie music right there in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. As what do we say we head down trackside to go through tonight's starting lineup. So here we go, folks. Tonight's starting lineup will look like the following. CVS in that 41 machine, leading the field to the green flag. Just outside, the driver looking to make it 2 in a row on Sundays. It is the 38 of Chad Coleman. Shannon Wood, he had himself a great qualifying run, will start inside of row number 2 and just outside of row number 2. Rolling off in 4th is one of the Superspeedway aces here in the league. It is the 11 of Kenny Reel. Steve Ritter in the 61 machine, another solid qualifying effort. He will start in P number 5. Michael Strickland in the 88 machine, he will roll off in P number 6. 7th going to the 23 machine of Joe Hudson. Keep an eye on Hudson here if he can survive to the end. Last time he finished on the podium was Daytona, so keep an eye on him for these super speedways. Brian Workman, a great qualifying effort as well inside the top 10. He will start in 8th. Mike Kelly in that 43 machine will roll off 9th. And Joey Gattina in the 14 rounds out the top 10 here. Rolling off 11th is Tyler Bellinger. And 12th will be Christian Delgado. 13th going to Frank Zingen. Eli Raposa was quickest in practice. He starts in 14th here. Ariba Caton rolling off P number 15. 16th going to Ron Holyfield. 17th is Stoney Bedingfield. Aiden Tatro rolls off 18th. And Aiden actually won on Friday with the Xfinity cars at Talladega here. So keep an eye on that 24 machine as well. Chris Proger in the 7 will start 19th. And Kevin Stone rounds out the top 20 here tonight. 21st will be Nick Larson. 22nd going to Jim Ott. 23rd is Brandon Guerin. 24th is Johnny Barker. Dan Holcroft will start 25th. Mike Fudge in 26th. Rob Lowell will start really deep in the field here tonight in 27th. Landon Audit in 28th. Bryson Anderson will roll off 29th. Rounding out the top 30 is Steve Vest. Kip Beasley here, another driver starting deep in this one, will roll off 31st. Richard Beasley in 32nd. 33rd going to Scott Simley. And rounding out the field here tonight, Logan Cougar will make up the 34 cars here, ready to do battle here at Talladega. 85 laps going to be the distance here in the YellowHammer 225. And here we go, folks. If you want excitement, craziness, and a little bit of the unexpected, well, Talladega will have it here tonight. As CVS will lead the field to the green flag, we fire on up and we start to build that good old momentum here at Talladega as the field will dive into turns 1 and 2. You can see here one car already pulling chutes saying, hey, I want to go to the back. That is a 62 machine of Frank Zingen. Zingen saying, hey, we don't want to be part of that front pack whatsoever. And I maybe don't blame him here. 85 laps, a long distance to go in this one. But out in front, it is Shannon Wood out there in that 02 machine taking over the lead. Was leading that outside lane. Those guys able to get clear by a mile. Also clear the 88 as well. So wow, power move from the top side right there as Shannon Wood will take over the point here. As everyone kind of jockeying on around right now just for a little bit, trying to figure out where they want to run in the running order, whether maybe push towards the front, try and lead this thing for a little bit, whether ride around in the back, and also try and figure out, hey, I want to work with that 2 machine, that 43 machine, you know, something like that as well. Where are they at? Can we get up and work with them? So a lot going on here to kick off the race. Just cars trying to figure out where they want to be, and I think this 02 and 38 know exactly where they want to be. That is out in front, and that's where they sit currently. Only one car up there on the outside lane. That is Tyler Bellinger. Bellinger able to pick up a win or 2 so far this season. And I like the new paint scheme on the 99 machine. And it looks like finally he will get some help. No, he won't. Mike Kelly will go to the outside. So Bellinger going to get swallowed on up in the middle. And looks like no, able to just find a gap there behind Aiden Tatro in the 24 machine. So he's able to get down back to that bottom side as Everyone's still rocking and rolling, but that top side definitely not formed on up like this bottom. And that definitely makes sense here at this point in the race. That is because, you know, these drivers knowing they got a long way to go here. No sense to really kind of push the envelope 3 wide, as we see that a little bit right here on the speedway. But, you know, everyone's just trying to make sure they click off laps at this point. I mean, we really won't see too much until just before kind of green flag pit stops, if that's the case, just for some people trying to get track position coming to pit road. But besides that, everyone can kind of ride on around. Yeah, you can try and make some moves, see what's out there, but unless you get a lot of help, at least 4 or 5 cars, it's going to be a very tough ask. Because if we get trouble here off of turn number 4, Scott Simley going on around, and we will go under our first caution of the evening here on lap number 5. So Scott Simley definitely towards the back of this one. That wreck started, and looks like Johnny Barker with the 802 iRacing League. I like that paint scheme on the car. Sadly, that car not looking too healthy with that one. Also looks like Rob Lowe, a little bit of damage maybe to that 21 machine. As yeah, Scott Simley was one of the first cars facing the wrong direction there. As one car already sideways. That was the 80 machine of Logan Cougar. Cougar having issues here on Friday night, as well as PC, and then this one not starting off any sort of better. As you can see, Mike Kelly getting a piece of it, and the 80 getting another piece of it as well. So let's try and jump on back a little bit more. And wow, holy smokes, who was in that kind of black car right there? Let's see if we can back this up a little bit more. But yeah, looks like maybe not quite getting clear going through the corner. So we got to look at the 32 machine here of Bryson Anderson. So Anderson to the inside of Simley here. They're all kind of just riding on around, and then wait till we see kind of this 32 get to this 80 here. As maybe let's speed it on up. Oh yeah, it looks like, here we go. We get the 80 machine of Logan Cougar by himself in that second lane. Start to get a little bit loose. That car shoots down the racetrack, and then neck code there, because you see the 32 kind of wiggle and then shoot up with the car, and then with the neck code, then the calamity breaks loose. Simley lifts, and Mike Kelly into the back of him. That's what sends the 33 on down. And yeah, a big hit to Johnny Barker. I mean, man, the 31 just able to squeak on there. And same with the 17 of Kevin Stone, just getting through there as well. Wow. As yeah, it looks like actually now under the green flag here, quite a few cars down on pit road here, kind of topping off on the fuel. Looks like only the 02 and the 88 going to stay on out. Everyone else coming down to pit road to top off on fuel. And that's definitely going to be the case here tonight, trying to keep as much fuel, so as little time during green flag as you can, because especially here on iRacing at Superspeedways, you don't got to take 4 tires. So what we'll probably see if we do get green flag pit stops is just probably fuel and go from there on out. So I do like the call if you can get majority like that to come down pit road to at least top off on fuel and make that pit stop just a little bit shorter next time on around. So under our first caution here tonight, and don't forget folks, as you see in the top right of your screen, this is one of the 5 Noble 5 race event here. So that is of course $20 going to the winner, but you had to finish inside the top 5 in the last Noble race. So drivers that are eligible: Anthony Calatoni won the race at Pocono. That was the last race it was. Calatoni though not here tonight. I believe not making the call here, so he can't get it done. Though Chad Coleman, he finished second. He's currently in P number 3. Jeff Pogo finished third. He's not here tonight. Then the other drivers, Kip Easley, he is currently deep in the field in this one, so Easley has some work cut out for him. And then the other driver who's been riding around, it seems like top 5, top 10 all season long, that is the 61 of Steve Ritter. So keep an eye on Coleman, Ritter, as well as the 8 car of Kip Easley here for that No Bull 5 challenge as well here tonight. All right, so we got the lights extinguished here at the Talladega Superspeedway. That means next time by, we are going green flag racing. Looks like Shannon Wood, he chose the inside lane here on this restart. That makes sense. Pair back up that 02 and that 38 machine once again here. And it looks like after it's all said and done, maybe 2 casualties in that one. I think Johnny Barker is still trying to get the repairs done there on the 6. And it looks like the 43 machine of Mike Kelly both down. Scott Simley getting back rolling on the speedway, but still some damage to that car. So I'd say about total 5 or 6 cars involved in that one. May have only about taken out 2 at most out of the race here. So I would say we don't quite consider that one just a big one yet. So the big one still looms in all of these drivers' minds here tonight. Because as we know, speeds of up to 200 miles an hour, one little mistake is all it takes for a lot of calamity to break on out. Still 32 cars on the lead lap here, as here we go. iRacing pace car down on pit road. And Shannon Wood once again in control of the start, as Wood will jump on the loud pedal and he will kind of jump out by himself out in front. This could be interesting. See how this works on out, as the field will have a little bit more momentum when they get to that back bumper here. But it looks like more cars though on the bottom side. That is what that group wants to see. Those guys formed on up very nicely here. So here we go, cars starting to get up to speed. I mean, speed's already up to 189, 190 miles an hour. So the pack is already up and roaring back to speed here. About 8 cars maybe in total, but about only 3 of them up there on the top side. That is Mike Strickland, Christian Delgado. It's good to see Christian on back here. Haven't seen that name in a little bit. Glad to see him here, as well as the 24 machine of Aiden Tatro. It looks like they might get some help here from the 46 of Eli Raposa, as well as the 8 of Kip Easley, as we ride on board with Delgado here, pushing that 88, trying to go to the front here in lane number 2. So out in front, Shannon Wood continues to lead the way with his teammate Chad Coleman right behind. Kenny Reel just hanging out in that 3rd position. Steve Ritter in 4th, and Tyler Bellinger in that Chrome 99 machine. He has driven on up to 5th. And how about this guy? It doesn't matter, it seems like, what track he's at. Jim Ott always driving on up through the field. Ott's up already 16 positions. And 6 as, we get trouble down the back straightaway. The 17 machine of Kevin Stone hard into the inside wall. It looks like everyone else will keep it rolling out here on the speedway. But Kevin Stone hard impact to that inside wall. Let's take a look here, see what happened down this back straightaway. As maybe a little bit of just checkup on the bottom side. Yeah, it looks like the 14 machine ducking out of line, and then Frank zinging a shot to the left rear of the 17 machine of Stone, and that sends him on around, and I believe a pretty big impact to that inside wall. We'll see it here. Yeah, pretty good lick for Stone there, and it looks like Stone's night might be over. As with that, that has kind of broken up this pack into two different packs now. Stoney Benfield here leading pack number 2 right around in that 17th position. Top 16 still in pack number 1 in this first pack. Still 2x2 here, so if they get themselves sorted out single file, they could definitely run away from the second pack, especially because they are not formed on up. And that could have been maybe started with Katina. We saw that 14 kind of Jeff Gordon looking machine down on the apron there, kind of maybe pulling shoots to that further on back in the pack there, and maybe that's what caused a little bit of that checkup or what happened there. But all we know for sure is Kevin Stone out of the race here tonight. And a cool thing here tonight here, you guys may have recognized him from the 88 car. New number change, new paint scheme. Dan Holcroft here in this pack, rocking the 31 here tonight. So Holcroft start on the 88, maybe looking for a little bit more luck with the 33 machine. We'll see what he can do here tonight, but already up 17 spots so far. As out in front, we have a new race leader in this one. Kenny Reel has taken over the points, so that outside lane was able to get rocking and rolling, and Kenny Reel was able to jump to the outside. Oh, one car in the outside wall. That is the 46 machine of Eli Raposa. Raposa gonna come to a slide here on the back straightaway. And it looks like everyone able to get on around. Nick Larson also turned around, looking the wrong direction. Chris Proger with a little bit of damage as well in this one. So the first one, we made it to about 7 or so laps. This one, once again, made it about 7 or so laps before our second caution of the evening, as Eli Raposa there facing the wrong direction. So Raposa's there in the white 46, having Nick Larson behind him, and Larson kind of moves on up maybe a little bit, maybe was pushing Raposa, but you saw Raposa's car start turning back down to the bottom side, and that's what kind of got that car for sure loose. And it looks like Chris Proger, just an innocent bystander, got a pretty big shot to the door of the 7 machine, but it looks like he's able to lock it on down, keep it out of that inside wall. That's some pretty good driving there by Chris to keep anything else from happening. But I gotta tell you what, it had to be pretty wild to be in that second pack, just coming up to that kind of smoking cars around. So let's take a look here. Riding on board with the 75 is Stoney Benfield, and just take a look. Cars going to be stopped on the racetrack with smoke, and it's like, heads up, where are we going? Cars shooting on around. Woo! So like I said before here, folks, Kenny Reel out in front here tonight. Just took over the lead right before this second caution here, so we will keep an eye here on pit road, see if we got some takers, and it looks like we do. Kenny Reel gonna lead quite a few cars here down on pit road. It looks like Mike Strickland as well as Christian Delgado going to be the only cars here out on the racetrack. Most everyone else coming on down and probably just going to be, you know, filling it up here with fuel. As yeah, we see Kenny Reel being the first to roll out here. Looks like Chad Coleman will be the second car off there, so able to make up back a few spots there, and the 38 machine as we see everyone else, rolling safely off of pit road here. So I believe here tonight so far, just 4 drivers here out of the race so far in this one. Everyone else still out on the racing surface, as well as still out here on the lead lap as well. So while we got some time here under caution, we'll go throw it over to a quick word from our partners over at Premier Setup Shops.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today, and remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
So the first 15 laps here tonight, folks, going to be completed right now here at the start finish line. At the start finish line as well, we will have the 1 to go signal. So it looks like the 88 going to choose the inside lane here, as the rest of the field going to double on up as we get back once again and try and go back to some green flag racing here. Second caution, second restart of the night. I believe Michael Strickland here, his first ever start here with the league, and currently picking up some laps led here in that 88, as he will lead us back to the green flag. To his outside will be Christian Delgado, and Ariba Caton in the 30 machine. He stayed on out. He will start 4th. Then it is Kenny Reel in 4th. Caton will start in 3rd. And then Chad Coleman here rounding out that top 5. So here we go. I'm sure these drivers ready to get back to green flag racing here tonight. And I tell you what, these guys continuing, probably just wanting to click down these laps here, get to that go point, whether it's 15 to go, 10 to go, 5 to go. Each driver has a magic number in their head that it's like, hey, at this point, it is go time here. So as here we go, Mike Strickland leading us back to the green here in the 88. Christian Delgado, the other car on the front row here. iRacing pace car down on pit road. And now the field makes their way through the tri-oval to that restart zone there. You can see to the right of the race cars as we head back to green flag racing. And once again, start the climb back up to 190 miles an hour here. The outside formed up a little bit better. Delgado getting a great push here from Kenny Reel. Delgado has the advantage, has enough room to shoot to the bottom side, but has not done so yet. The field back up to now 180 plus miles an hour. Delgado will bring now Kenny Reel with him to the bottom side, so the front two from the top shuffle on down to the bottom. Now it is Tyler Bellinger leading lane number 2 with Steve Ritter behind him. So a Chevy leading the bottom line, then Ford's in lane number 2 as Bellinger gets hung out to dry by Steve Ritter. Wow, so Ritter will go up to the third lane. Bellinger going to have to wait for kind of an opening to either shoot down to the bottom or kind of let the guys on the top side kind of get clear as they kind of get stalled out here for the time being. As it looks like Chris Proger here getting that 7 machine back rolling out here on the speedway. So I'm glad to see that with Chris here. As out in front now with that kind of confusion, Steve Ritter takes over the point, and here comes Richard Beasley. Beasley had a chance maybe to get on down, but now has to wait for the push behind him from that 75 machine of Benningfield, and Benfield gonna go to the bottom. So the Tide Ride number 10 of Richard Beasley leading that second lane. Now it is Chad Coleman behind him down there on the bottom side. Steve Ritter with the race lead here for the time being, and it is Christian Delgado there pushing him right behind him as well. So a Ford leading a Chevy, then a Toyota. All 3 manufacturers right there in a row on the bottom side here. And also, I believe it's all different race teams there for the time being in that group as well. As it's Wolfpack Racing leading the way with Steve Ritter. Then second, Christian Delgado. He's part of Wildman Racing making select starts. He is by himself. And then Kenny Reel. He has Frank Zingen as a teammate, but Zingen not up there as well. So 3 different drivers having no comms between them, but making it work. But that top side though, keep an eye on that. They have a lot of cars up there, and they are starting to get rocking and rolling. Some cars see that right in front of him. Delgado, as well as Kenny Reel and Strickland, all go up to the top side to block the 10. That will kind of leave Steve Ritter out without some momentum for a time being, and Ritter will fall back to 5th just in that one move. So like I said, the name of the game here tonight is momentum. Once you have it, you got to take advantage of it. And you can see that there. Once I see some momentum behind, going up, blocking that lane. And it doesn't matter if you leave some cars behind. They aren't going to have it. Going to fall on back. So definitely very interesting. And should be really interesting to see how it shakes out at the end of this one. Because in theory, that means then, hey, you want to stay towards the front. The question is how well you can block then. And that's always asking for trouble late in Superspeedway racing. And an interesting line here from Christian Delgado. There through the corners, almost getting a full lane to Kenny Reel. So you can see that sometimes with a race leader that will stay off that bottom side. That allows the car behind them kind of to see the inside of the racing surface, you know, with that double yellow line, and can kind of see where the corner is. But Delgado's kind of way up the racetrack. Maybe I wonder if Kenny Reel's maybe getting a little bit hot, as that time a lot lower for the 03 machine. That's kind of the normal typical line there. Is Reel, you know, just like that, can kind of peek to the inside, see that yellow line and say, all right, here's where I got to wrap it, then give a nice push down these straightaways here. So 28 cars on the lead lap. One car that has lost the draft here, Nick Larson, out here with that wounded number 2 machine involved in that last incident. You can see that car. He has lost the draft in 28th, last car in the lead lap. Eli Raposa also involved in that. You can see the damage on the 46. He is out of the draft, but then 25th on up, still all part of this big pack so far here tonight, from Steve Vest all the way up to Delgado out in front. As once again the outside lane here has a little bit of momentum. We'll keep an eye on them, see if they can make a charge to get back to the point here. And you can see there Richard Beasley in that 10 machine side drafting a lot down that straightaway, trying to pull that car back on that inside lane. But also, too, you saw it when it was zoomed in there, that 10 car darting on around just a little bit here. I mean, these cars aren't fully planted, you know. You still got to wheel these things, and you can definitely feel the air around you, whether someone's trying to pull you on back or push you on forwards. As the outside lane here loses a little bit of momentum, those guys all check up on top of each other. Taps given between the 1038 and the 02, and that's how you can see that momentum is lost. You'll see kind of the front runners kind of bunch on up accordion, then you'll see them spread on out, dissipate that energy, and then continue to do that. Where you get really good is once you can kind of get inside that accordion effect and kind of just lock onto a driver. That's where you make a lot of speed, but you got to worry about the car overheating and all that good stuff as well. And interesting here, we're going to try and jump on board here with Chad Coleman, looking at the driver leading this outside line, and yes, he does. The 10 machine of Richard Beasley has a little bit of damage. You can see by his left rear tail light there, you can see a little bit of some crinkles here, so I wonder if that's slowing down this outside lane just a little bit here. That makes a tough choice for Chad Coleman here, because at some point Coleman may need to ditch the 10, or else he could get ditched by the car behind him and then start to drop on back through the middle of the pack like a rock. So interesting there that Beasley having some damage. I wonder if Coleman knows that. As the field will come up to the wounded 2 machine of Nick Larson, so that will now put Larson 1 lap down and into the lucky dog spot. As here we go, 3 wide racing action a little bit here out on the speedway. Kip Beasley looked like he might have had some help there, and so far not too many takers in that third lane for the time being, but now he does find some friends, that of Brandon Guerin and Frank Zingen. But out in front, it has been Delgado and Kenny Reel just sitting there, 1-2, kind of riding on around. Mike Strickland in third, Steve Ritter fourth. And now the 75 machine of Stoney Benfield into the top 5 there. And how about this? Reba Caton riding in 6th there in the 30 machine. That is also awesome to see here tonight. So about the first third of this race here tonight here, folks, about done and over with in this one. And so far only 2 cautions here to kick off the race. About 4 drivers in total that have retired. Everyone else still out here on the racetrack. We got Scott Simley and Nick Larson, both 1 down. And Bryson Anderson, I believe, sits 2 laps down. Chris Proger, I think, is 4 laps down. And then I think Mike Kelly's back out on the speedway, I think about 8 laps down. As we had the 75 machine right there, Stoney Benfield jumping up to that outside lane to maybe try and block the 10 as they had a lot of momentum. Couldn't quite get the block on done, so now the 75 machine will be spat on out and have to drop all the way to about 20th. So remember, he was running in that 5th position, went to throw the block on the 10, maybe to try and, of course, get to that race lead. And with that, falls all the way back to about that 20th position. And with that block being thrown, it kind of slowed down the momentum and the run the outside lane had here in this 10 machine, so they will have to try and build that back up, see what they can do here once again. Well, we will now start lap 30 of 85 here tonight. And I say let's ride on board here. What would be a good car? Maybe Kip Easley here. Let's ride on board with Kip Easley. Just see kind of all these cars kind of swimming on around in front of them, especially when they get here to these lap cars. Take a look for them on the right side as well. Let's ride on board with a lap here with Kip Easley. And you can see just how sketchy it can be. Luckily, Talladega is a little bit wider than Daytona, so you know you can go 3 wide pretty easily and not have to be too worried. The trouble though is when it gets to 4 wide situations. That's where it can get crazy very quickly here. Like I said, Christian Delgado's still leading the way now. Brandon Guerin here. He was the first car to jump up to that 3rd lane here, so the one car, we'll see what he can have leading a lane, getting pushed from the 62 of Frank Zingen right there. As especially with pack racing here, it's not just hold your foot to the floor, turn left when you got to. These things, especially with the aero effects, what they've been doing on iRacing, these cars can get loose, tight, as well as you're managing that draft, whether a gap in front of you with either brake or gas. Preferably if you can use the brake to load down the car, that's usually a little bit better, trying to keep as many RPMs in the motor as you can. But if you really got to check up, you know, definitely lift versus giving that driver in front of you a big shot in the shorts or something. Brandon Guerin there jumping behind the draft, trying to build up that momentum again, and looks like once again continuing to peak to that outside lane here, so he'll try and draft on up and then shoot out a line. The trouble with these next-gen cars, man, is once you shoot out a line, it's like pulling a big parachute behind you. You just have no momentum compared to the cars around you, and we'll see that right here with the 14 machine of Joey Gattina, as Gattina will get shuffled out of line here, and you can just see just by himself, I mean, loses at least 5 rows right there in just one corner. Gattina is still staying up out of the way, so that tells me one thing. The 14 being in that pack said, you know what, it's starting to get a little bit too crazy for me. I think we're going to back on out of it, head to the back here, ride on around. I don't like what I'm seeing in front of him, as once again we see Beasley a little squirrely there off of turn number 4. That's the sketchiest part in the racetrack, especially in that second groove, is as that banking goes away, if you got wheel in the car or you get pushed there, that car can become very light in the rear tires. Once again, Brandon Guerin jumping to the outside lane. This time could be a little bit better though. Looks like going to have 4 cars with them, as Aiden Tatro with the Friday night winner here at Talladega jumping on up there. It looks like he will now jump to the bottom as one car having trouble. It looks like Chad Coleman motor expiring on the 38 machine. Oh no, you hate to see it. Chad Coleman there pushing that outside lane, pushing the 10 car of Richard Beasley. He will have his motor explode and expire, and his night will come to an end here on lap 36. Wow, a tough break to Coleman there. His motor expiring there, and you got to wonder, it's just had to be because of Coleman there being right on the back bumper of that 10 car for too long, and then that thing not getting enough air, overheating, and then ultimately letting go there off of turn number 4. The field did an incredible job there not to hit Coleman, because it was probably, you know, a 30-mile-per-hour difference. Yeah, I was going to say, how are things down there in Daytona? Glad to see Jeff here and Eric here in the YouTube chat lands. And no fast repairs here. And yeah, with a motor expiring, there's no fix for that here in iRacing without a fast repair. So yeah, Coleman's night done and over with there with a motor going boom. As yeah, if he could coast around and have a fast repair in the pits, you know, it would fix it, but it would be one, a long distance he would have to go around with that motor expiring where it did, and then two, you know, without the fast repair, no point to getting it back to pits. He probably just towed that bad boy. But here once again, it looks like outside lane here once again rocking and rolling, and Joey Gattina, after getting shuffled on out and kind of backing on out, he's right back to the front of this one here. As yeah, I think that's definitely the move. No fast repairs in the league. It kind of, you know, sets one, the realism, and then two, of course, trying to take care of your own car as well as your fellow competitors, you know, because it doesn't allow, you know, hey, we can afford a mistake if needed. As once again, the top lane, 4 wide for a second. They are going to make it through, as Tatro had a big run there. And it looks like still Gattina and Easley still stuck side by side with the same amount of momentum. As wow, that got a little bit sketchy, but that almost kind of breaks up this outside lane here once again. As yeah, we always hear, you know, it's tough to make moves, do X, Y, and Z, especially with the Superspeedway package here in these cars. But I tell you what, besides about the top 5 or so, those drivers have been pretty consistently up there throughout the rest of the field behind them in the draft. Man, we have had some people come and go, it seems like, in a lap or less. So that's definitely pretty exciting here as we start to get close to the pit window here to get us to the end of this one. As here we go, Richard Beasley able to shoot down to the bottom side. Now it is the 88 machine leading lane number 2. And I tell you what, Aiden Tatro won on Friday night. I said during that race, he was one of the better pushers, I thought. Right now, he sits in a pretty good pushing spot there. Wow, what a move for the 88 to go from the top side to the bottom. There had to be about just barely a car length, and he was able to squeeze it in there right in front of Steve Ritter. Yeah, Jeff, I'm sure you're not, you know, too upset about missing a super speedway racing, but yeah, man, I tell you what, we were a little jealous of that 24-hour race. Got to stay on up. Hopefully you got some sleep during that yellow, because yeah, when that yellow came on out around, you know, 1 a.m., I'm like, oh man, that's a perfect time to go to bed. catch some Z's and get back up in the morning. And it always blows me away, man. Those endurance races, multiple classes, once again, finishing within, like, what was it? A second and a half or less of each other. That's always incredible. As now Richard Beasley out in front here tonight, leading that bottom side, leading the race here. Tatro still continuing to try to lead that outside lane on up, but those guys not quite as formed for those first 4 cars, that is, at the time being. But yeah, still 25 cars here on the lead lap. And here we go, some drivers getting back to the point here. Christian Delgado and Kenny Real able to get a gap to the 10 car of Beasley, get a run, and then get back to the point, as well as bring that 88 machine. So Delgado back up to the race lead in this one. And in fact, the 03 of Delgado here will lead at the cross flags at Talladega. So the YellowHammer 225 halfway down, halfway home in this one. As yeah, not too many cars left up in that second lane. They are not formed on up together with themselves at all either. So bottom side definitely where you want to be for the time being. As Landon Audit going up to lane number 3 here. We'll see what the Wendy's number 15 machine can do. We'll try and get some help from Kip Beasley. Looks like the 21 of Rob Lowell going to shoot the middle side here for the time being. As trouble here, Landon Audit having big time, I believe, hit to the outside wall. The 15 machine somehow keeps that car straight, doesn't collect anyone else. So man, good piece of driving by Audit there. It kind of stinks that might ruin his race, but he could get a caution when the time comes right. But the 15 machine now definitely going to be out of the draft there with a pretty wounded race car. The last car to be in, actually no, there is another pack here. Actually a couple packs here now that are formed. Top 20 in the first pack, then 21st on back here in pack number 2. That is Jim Ott, Steve Vest, Joe Hudson in the second pack. Then Brian Wertman kind of on an island by himself with Nick Larson, Eli Raposa, Bryson Anderson, as well as the 6 of Johnny Barker. So Wertman at least has some help, but he is the next car in danger of going a lap down, about, a half a lap back currently. As we did have one taker down on pit road, that time the 88 machine coming on down this time here. So looks like here on lap number 45, no one jumping on down to pit road here. So like I said, this first pack now about 25 cars deep, because that secondary pack here able to catch this first one. So with these guys here, once again, starting to get close to their green flag pit stops, let's ride on board with our pole sitter here, the driver of the 41 machine, as I like to say, CVS. And here we go. Let's see what he is seeing out of, let's go to the roof here. We haven't gone to the roof in a while. Ride on board with the 41 machine. As you can see them 2, 3 wide up in front of him. So here we go, folks. We're going to keep the camera on here. You can hear Chuck here kind of lifting a little bit, jumping to the outside now. That is because we got some drivers calling out their pitting. So take a look to the left side. You'll see a few cars here getting on the binders, getting to pit road. And that's where it can also get pretty sketchy pretty quickly here tonight. If someone, tries to shoot, from the second lane or something like that, it could spell trouble very quickly. But it looks like Christian Delgado and Ariba Caton both safely down on pit road here. So with drivers here coming to pits, a few keeping their foot in it, trying to go to the front, like Kip Easley here, Dan Holcroft, Frank Zingen, as well as Brandon Guerin. Those 4 cars running in the top 4. So those guys maybe saved some fuel and said, you know what, at this point, let's go try and take the race lead right before green flag pit stops. And I do like that call as we see the 61 and the 21 peeling off with each other here. Chris Proger here sitting a few laps down, but trying to get at least one of those laps back the hard way here in the 7 machine. He will try and fall back in line here, but behind the 31. As it is Kip Easley here. Easley, one of those 5 drivers eligible for that No Bull 5 and winning $20 in cold hard cash after this one. So he started deep in this field. He is up 30 positions. So he started outside the top 30, currently leading right here during the start of green flag pit stops. So Rob Lowe just rolling from pit road. Not sure if he had a penalty because he was a little bit slow with his time spent on pit road. So the 21 machine may have had some sort of issues. Does not come out close at all to his teammate in the 61 machine. So definitely something to keep an eye on here as Delgado, who pitted by himself now, will go 1 lap down, stay up out of the way here, but he is currently good on fuel to the end. But the bummer for the 03, he is out there by himself. That is one of the bummers with racing by yourself at a super speedway. If you pit like that, you are in trouble because you're off up to 5 to almost 10 miles an hour off the pace of cars versus in a pack. So yeah, the next car in danger to go lap down was Steve Ritter. Remember, he just got off of pit road about a lap or so ago, but the field's starting to bear down on the back bumper of that 61 machine. But at least the way that Ritter came out off the track, he is actually still in front of Christian Delgado for the time being, but Delgado at least back up to speed here in that pack. As Kip Easley continues to lead the way here tonight in Talladega after the halfway point. Remember, 2 cautions here to kick off the night in about the first 15 laps. Since then, we have been clean and green racing this race out. And we've seen a lot of different leaders from the 10 car, the 8 car. We saw the 41 lead the field to green flag. So we've had a lot of people shaking this running order on up. So, like I said, everyone just trying to get to that magical number at, hey, this is the go time. We got to start making moves to the front here. But still, for most of the field, they got to check the big box. That is a green flag pit stop. Safely come into pit road, safely get off. That means no spinning it out, no speeding. Either of those things will ruin a race if it goes green to the end with a super speedway race. So you have to make sure you hit your marks when it comes to green flag pit stops. Yeah, let's ride on board with our race leader here, Kip Beasley, looking back here at the pack behind him. Looks like Mike Kelly there in the 43 machine. Gonna duck on down to pit road. I think the 22 or the 16 on the car, Mike Fudge, also heading down to pit road as well. So I have a feeling next time by we should see quite a few more takers to pit road here in this main big pack, as Kip Beasley going to get hung out to dry. Frank Zingen will now go to the point, getting some help from the 1 car as well as the 11 of Kenny Reel. So those 3 will now take over the point, as I have a feeling that might mean that Kip Beasley going to be heading to pit road here this time by. As yeah, that is the case here. A handful of cars heading to pit road. Kip Beasley coming in hot. Did easily get that thing slowed down in time. That was close for the 8 car. We'll keep an eye here, see if he gets held in his box, because if you speed, that's a 40-second hold in the pit box. Could be very detrimental, as we will have to see, as about the top 12 still staying out here on the racetrack here for the time being, as Frank Zingen will take over the point. He will get a point as well for leading a lap here tonight. As yeah, it looks like Kip Beasley here with the lockup, able to get that car woed on up, able to leave with the pack. So Kip Beasley not speeding on pit road entry. As here we go, the next takers head into pit road here. Brandon Guerin, a little bit of lockup, but everyone looks like they are safely down and onto pit road. As now that leaves about 4 cars left out yet to pit. One of them being a driver that was up on the podium on Friday night. Joe Hudson in that 23 machine will take over the point, will lead a lap. And Joe Hudson, our current race leader here, as we look to wrap up our final pit stops of the night and our final green flag pit stops here. As here we go, the last couple of takers heading down to pit road here. Joe Hudson safely on down, Joey Gattina as well as Ron Holyfield as well. All 3 of them down and away. Here comes the first pack here, as Kip Beasley already up to speed. How will these guys blend on together? Right now it's about a 6 car in this first group breakaway. So easily we'll shoot to the top side here, try and keep that momentum rocking and rolling. But like I said, folks, it was about 25 cars in that first pack here that pitted all together at different times, of course, but you know, pitted about with the pack after green flag pit stops here. It's about 12 cars in this first pack here. So we already cut the pack in half for this win with just green flag pit stops. And like I said, that's why it's such a big deal here on these super speedways. As Joe Hudson here will get his 23 machine up to speed here. Hudson had himself a great pit stop, will continue the race lead, but will get swallowed up here in a second by this pack coming full head of steam right behind him. This should get interesting, as well as Audit will stay to the outside lane. Aiden Tatro going to have to slam on the binders to not get into the back of the 23 machine. And now that will allow Kenny Reel here to take over the point right before we go to the countdown clock here tonight. And I think before we head to that, we got to do some of the best sounds. That is some Cub cars at a super speedway. So here we go. Get ready to crank up those TVs, tablets, whatever you're watching on, because we got a little turn 3, turn it up here tonight from Talladega. Alrighty folks, we head back here now, about to be to the countdown clock here. Next time by will be 25 to go left here at Talladega. Kenny Reel continues to hold the point here over Brandon Guerin. Joe Hudson in third, Aiden Tatro fourth, and Tyler Bellinger rounding out the top five. Kip Easley currently the best running No Bull 5 driver here tonight. He sits in the 6th position currently here, as he will start to look to the outside. Will in fact shoot to the outside, but now that allows the 80 machine of Logan Kruger to make up that spot right there. So I say we ride on board with Dan Holcroft here with his visor cam, see what he is seeing and just how tough it is to kind of push, because as you can see, you get a lot of view of some spoiler there, and that's the sketchy part right there when that banking goes away in the corner. That's where things can get a little hairy. So we're right on board with Dan Holcroft here now in the 31 machine, trying to give some good pushes here to the 8 and try and push Kip Easley to the race lead here. As we can see here, they have some momentum, and whoo, Holcroft has to be careful. You don't want to push too much on the left side of your bumper of the car in front of you, because you do that, that car goes on around, and then you get the old big one at Talladega in no time. But here we go. Dan Holcroft now has put Kip Easley maybe to the race lead here, and yes, he has. Easley gets clear. Does the 8 car shoot to the bottom? No, he does not. Not, at least not yet, that is. As it looks like they're going to get all 4 of them to the bottom side. A new race leader, Kip Easley here, back to the point with now 23 laps left in this one. So as we kind of saw during those speed shots here, there's a couple different packs. You know, this first pack up into about 14th position, 14 cars in pack number 1. Then we got to jump back a little bit further from 15th to about 18th here in the second pack. Second pack having Mike Strickland, Christian Delgado, Reba Caton, as well as Steve Ritter. Then it is Mike Kelly as well. Kelly being a few laps down. Then we got to go back. Stoney Benfield still by himself in 19th, having no help. But then we go to Mike Fudge and Steve Vest. They at least are working together for the time being, so they can at least pick up Benfield in, you know, a few laps. Can at least get 3 cars, get close to the pace of the pack here. Rob Lowe, though, having some help. He was the one that had a slow stop there, but he has Frank Zingen in this pack, as well as a few of his teammates being a couple laps down. And then the last car on the lead lap, Ryan Wortman here, as the first car 1 lap down. Scott Simley sits in this lead pack, so Simley could very well push someone to a win, knowing that, hey man, I'm a lap down, but I could still affect who wins this race, could push a teammate to a win. As this first pack here starting to form up 2 lanes here for the time being. Top 4 on the bottom side, but then in 5th, Brandon Guerin now pushing his teammate Jim Odd jumping up from the bottom side here. So Hoonigan Racing here trying to get that outside lane rolling. Kenny Reel now thinking about going to the top. We'll think better of it for the time being, but that tells me, hey, this 11 car, once we get some momentum rolling on the top side, he might be coming on up as well here. As 20 to go here this time at the start finish line. Brian Wortman in that purple 74 machine gonna go a lap down here down the back straightaway. He will stay up to that 3rd lane, up and out of the way, but now it becomes a pretty interesting battle for the time being It'll now be Wortman versus Simley for a battle for the lucky dog spot. So as long as the 74 can keep the draft here, that 74 going to try and get around the 33, and vice versa, the 33 going to try and keep the 74 behind if we do get a caution. Like I said, the last I think we're getting close, if not right there already. 50 laps have been completed under green flag here, so that has been awesome to see here tonight. As once again, outside lane trying to get momentum to go back to the front, try and push more cars up there. Now it is Kenny Reel leading that outside lane here. Another driver here laps down that could impact who will win it. That is a 7 machine of Chris Proger. Progerson, third car on that inside lane, as we see Jim Ott now shoot up to the top, and Ott will go on around. Ott will spin it through the infield. Tyler Bellinger will as well. Ott will get that car, trying to get that car rolling, but Jim Ott having heavy damage in the 4. And with them spinning out below that inside double yellow line, we actually stay green flag racing because iRacing says, hey, we don't see an incident, a car spun on track. We stay green here. Wow. As yeah, like I was saying, Jim Ott just shot up to that third lane there, and we'll have to see what happened to him to kind of kick things on off there. So we'll see Ott here off of turn number 4 shoot to the outside of Kenny Reel. Let's see if it was because of move or a push. No, it looks like he will shoot on up there, and then Joey Gattina there in the 14, maybe looking to make it 4 wide, but gets into the left rear quarter panel of that 4 machine. And man, Tyler Bellinger just being the odd man out will get collected with that, but a heck of a save by the 23 machine of Joe Hudson. Hudson definitely got a piece of it, but you can see there the damage to the left front of the 4 machine. Big time damage on that race car. As you can see, that left front not even pointing in the right direction. Tyler Bellinger able to get that car rolling as well, but he of course now way outside of the draft with some damage as well. So Bellinger just off of turn number 2 there. Leaders at the start finish line. Now we'll make it 16 to go. So Brian Wertman did lose the draft with that incident there. Same with the 02 of Shannon Wood, as well as the 41 machine of CVS. All 3 of those cars losing the draft. Wertman now going to have a tough road ahead of him to get that lucky dog, because Simley was able to stay in that lead pack. So Simley definitely has the lucky dog in case they do get that caution. But now with only 15 to go, it's going to get interesting. We start to definitely close on into people's go lap number for here on out, folks. As now we see Kenny Reel here in the sucker hole in the middle, 3 wide here, not getting any sort of help. Looks like finally we'll get a friend, that being the 1 car, Brandon Guerin. Maybe not, as we see Guerin head back down to the bottom side. So Kenny Reel there will drop back to P number 10, and that's about what's in this first pack. 10 cars now left in this fight for the race win, if we don't get a caution and bunch everyone back on up. I know the guys at least in this first pack saying, you know what, they would love to see this race finish under green flag, kind of, as long as they don't wreck early on the white flag lap. pretty much guarantee themselves a top 10 finish. And I think most people would take that at a super speedway, especially with 34 cars here tonight taking the green flag. But here recently, it has been the Kip Easley, Dan Holcroft, and Joe Hudson show. Those two have been holding down this inside lane at the front of the field and have been doing it now, it feels like, for about the last 10-15 laps. The question is, can they do it for now the remaining 13 laps in this one? As coming into tonight, Kip Easley sits second in points. Could be a big night for him, as well as Dan Holcroft comes in 12th in points. Pretty close to that cutoff. Remember, top 15 in points. Gonna lock on in and reset for the playoffs here. And Dan Holcroft, you know, like I said, about 60 points ahead of that cutoff line of 15. So he would love a great finish. He sets himself in a pretty good spot right now in P number 2 here. And you can see Dan's doing a great job at pushing. No real big hits to the 8, but able to close that gap, burst that bubble pocket that can form, and then kind of let Easy take the momentum, close it back on up, and keep it nice and smooth. And that is keeping some nice momentum on the bottom side, as that top side looks like finally getting themselves figured on out here. So now it is the 14 machine of Joey Gattina leading outside lane. He is getting pushed by the 10 of Richard Beasley. Beasley, of course, one of those drivers that have led a decent amount of laps here tonight. He could be a threat before it's all said and done. It looks like both the 14 and the 10 right there able to get down to the bottom side here. So new race leader Joey Gattina going to take over the point now with 11 to go in this one. But it might not be over, because now more cars with some momentum. Kenny Real pushing Logan Cougar to the point. So the 80 machine now drops to the bottom. And I think I might be getting some double vision here as two Jeff Gordon, not Alex Bowman, what am I saying? William Byron paint schemes. Both cars on the bottom side as we get trouble. Scott Simley into Richard Beasley. Both those cars make hard impacts to the outside wall there, and they will draw the caution now with about 10 to go, and a heartbreak for Simley, who is kind of riding on around in that first pack, looking to be in a great spot for the lucky dog, but with him being collected, he will not be eligible. So now the purple 74 machine of Brian Wortman will be the lucky dog. So let's take a look, see what happened to bring out this third caution and set us up for a sprint to the finish in this one. It's going to be about a 7-lap shootout to figure things on out. So here we go. Looking at this through the tri-volt, keep an eye on the 33 machine of Scott Simley. Simley up a little bit, and it looks like Brandon Guerin maybe into the left side of the bumper of the 33 machine. That hooks then Simley down to the bottom side, and there we go. Big impact to the left side of both the 33 and the 10. I believe the one car, Brandon Guerin, will have some damage as well on the nose of that thing. As actually looking at it live here, it looks like Brandon might be alright with the damage. I really don't see too much, if anything, on the nose. I think the 24 of Aiden Tatro has more damage than Brandon Guerin, so that is definitely pretty wild to see, as we actually see a taker on pit road late in this one. Joey Gattina from, I believe, P number 3 will come on down. Aiden Tatro will as well. A few takers, but yeah, like I thought, at this point in the race, everyone going to stay on out There is one attempt at it, I believe 3 attempts at a green-white checkered if needed, but it's about to get wild from here, folks. As, yeah, we see the 74 machine of Brian Wertman here getting his lap back. So that will put about 23 cars here on the lead lap with now 9 to go. And, folks, we haven't had the big one yet at Talladega. And with this many cars, everyone's going to be fighting. This could spell the calamity here for tonight. As with us under our third caution here, we're going to go to a quick commercial break over to our partners at Premier Setups and get a quick word from them. So here we go. This time by at the start finish line, we should get the 1 to go as well as the choose, and that should leave, like I said, a 7-lap sprint to the end of this thing. And I tell you what, some big time hitters to the front late in this one. Kenny Reel will start on the front row. Brandon Guerin right there as well, the previous Talladega winner. And then Kip Beasley eligible for that $20. You know he would love to win. Dan Holcroft right there looking for his first ever win. Ron Holyfield as well, and Joe Hudson. He has been on the podium, I believe, in all but one Superspeedway race he has been a part of. He's right there in the mix as well. Same with Shannon Wood. He fell back late, fell out of the draft. He now gets a shot at this thing. Christian Delgado, driver I think that led the most amount of laps, he still has a shot at it. Same with Steve Ritter with a chance at some money as well. So a lot of storylines late in this one. Logan Cougar going to choose the outside lane as well, so that should make it exciting. Going to say, you know what, I think the outside lane may be the way to go. We'll see how it works out here tonight. Man, oh man, it's been a while since we saw a caution flag here at Dega. Over 55 laps of green flag racing there done, and we get to end things off with a sprint on this one. Logan Cougar in the 80 Exalta machine going to be in control of the restart. Kenny Reel, the other car on the front row, as we get ready to turn them back loose here tonight. And like I said, still 23 cars on the lead lap here, with now going to be 7 to go. The iRacing pace car here heads down to pit road. And here we go from the grandstands. We get ready to head back to green flag racing here in the YellowHammer 225. As the field will go up through the field. Oh, it looks like maybe the 30 machine missing a shift there. Caden a little bit off the pace, but able to get it back rolling. Oh, trouble though. Caden and Steve Vest will go on around. So that will slow us back down right on away here, and will now lead less and less laps for drivers to try and get up through the field. So, like I said, Caden seemed like he didn't have the restart he wanted. And then going into turn number 1, 3, almost 4 wide race and just running on out of room there as Caden back to the inside of the 60 and then into the left rear tire of that car. I tell you what, Steve Vest does a great job keeping this car down and off of the racing surface there, as CVS in that 41 machine just able to squeak on by. And man, that could have been a lot of trouble for a lot of drivers, but Steve Vest doing a great job at hanging on to that race car and keeping it out of trouble. But with that, we slow down the pace here once again, so fourth caution coming out right away after that third one here, and gonna continue to click down laps. And it might be a unofficial green-white checkered when we turn these guys back on loose here tonight. And for the Scott Simley fans here tonight, was involved in that last yellow, didn't get the lucky dog. Here during this yellow, I believe the 33 machine gonna be the lucky dog here, and we'll have a chance to get back on the lead lap and maybe improve a couple spots before it's all said and done. As yeah, like I said, the no bull 5 drivers that were eligible tonight, that of course determined from the top 5 of the last no bull event. Last one taken on, well, I should say going on during race number 12 at Pocono. And the 5 drivers that were eligible were Anthony Calatoni, who didn't make tonight, Jeff Pogo, who didn't make tonight as well. He's down with the Daytona 24 hours, definitely jealous of that. But Chad Coleman, he was eligible. He was looking sporty until that motor let go. Then the other 2, Kip Easley, who sits in P number 4. Then the other driver is that red 61 machine of Steve Ritter. He is currently in 8th, so we got to keep an eye on 2 cars that are left. Both those 2 cars, though, inside the top 10 late in this one. As yeah, it's going to be an unofficial green-white checkered when we go back to green flag racing. That is because, you know, we'll get 4 to go here with the choose and 1 to go. And then after that, we'll go back to green flag racing with 3 to go, as we see Scott Simley here going around the field, getting his lap back here. So that will move it back up to 24 cars on the lead lap late in this one. And like I said, folks, still have yet to have the big one here tonight at Talladega. And with us under our 4th caution here tonight, we're going to go once again, throw it over to a quick commercial. Not going to miss any sort of racing, as we still got a little bit of pacing before the choose and then a little bit of pacing after that. So we'll be back for our 4th restart of the night after a quick commercial break. So here we go. We are sitting atop of the grandstands here at the front straightaway, looking at the field remaining. I mean, still a ton of cars out here on the racetrack still here tonight. And once again, it looks like the 80 machine of Logan Cougar once again going to choose the outside lane. So that puts the 11 and the 1 car both together down on the bottom side. That should be very interesting, as yeah, like I said, unofficial green-white checkered, because we would get the green flag with 3 to go, then head back around, get the 2 to go, then the white. And of course, if we get a caution before the white flag, we use up one of those 3. We do have 3 attempts at a green-white checkered here tonight. But if we were to take the white flag, no matter what happens on that final lap, we are racing back to the checkered. So if they wadded up big into 1, you know, someone from like 20th could drive through the field, drive through the smoke, Days of Thunder style, and pick up a win. But it's all about having that lady luck on your side. And that's what some of these drivers are going to need to pick up a win here tonight. But here we go. Once again, it's going to be Cougar and Real on the front row as we get ready for the 4th restart of the night here. The iRacing pace car here heads to pit road. Now the field will bunch on up and head to the restart box. Seemed like Logan Cougar last time going early in that 80 machine. This time going at the very end of the box as we head now to green flag racing here with 3 laps left at Talladega. Cougar quickly dropping down to the bottom side. That leaves now Kip Easley leading lane number 2. Kenny Real now pushing the 80 machine. Kip Easley getting pushed by the 02 of Shannon Wood, so that's kind of the 2 drivers we want to keep an eye on at this point. Who is the better pusher? Who could push their driver out in front more? Real versus Wood. Right now, Kenny Real with the advantage. More and more cars jumping to the top side. No one jumping to 3 wide here as we get cars collected with each other. The 88 and the 21 machine slowing on up here through 3 and 4. Looks like another black car. It looks like Scott Simley also around as well. So Simley able to get back on the lead lap, but involved in this 5th caution. Now we head into one of those 3 overtime scenarios. As let's take a look, see what happened here. So the field heading into turn number 3. Christian Delgado into the back of Mike Fudger. That kind of checks up the lane. And it looks like Mike Strickland goes up to the top. Not sure if it was a reaction to the cars in front of him or to block Rob Lowe. But then the 21 machine had the nose to the outside. And then those 2 make contact, both of them into the outside wall there. Now let's see what happens to the 33 machine of Simley. Simley trying to get on around on the bottom side, and just gets that car to bottom on out, starts bouncing on him, and just loses the back end without the banking there down on the apron. So I don't think too much damage, but oh man, I feel like, you know, we've been teasing this race going back green. It starts to build back up, and then we get another caution. So hopefully, you know, one of these, it's not the case here, but it seems like, you know, these last 10 laps, a lot of them being done under caution here, building up that anticipation here, but still racing left to be had here tonight. And each of these incidents have been only a few cars. Like I said, still here tonight, 5 cautions, and not a single one has been a big one. That is pretty impressive, and with that as well, you know, 24 cars still on the lead lap late in this one into green-white checkered territory. Wow. As we are still under caution flag here for at least a couple of laps. So with that, we'll give you a different commercial, a little bit longer one. Here is the iRacing commercial here, and we'll be back here from Talladega to call the end of this one.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
So we head back to Talladega here tonight, folks, and first attempt here at a green-white checkered in this one. And remember, if we get a caution before we see the white flag here, we do have still 2 more attempts. And I tell you what, maybe a driver that's not the happiest that we do have overtime here is the 80 machine, because without these overtime cautions, the race would be done. The 80 machine would be winning, but he, of course, still has a chance to still get the job done here tonight, but still has the X factor of 2 laps here at a Superspeedway where anything can happen here. Looks like the 88 of Mike Strickland still able to stay out here on the track. It looks like that 88 still looks halfway decent. It doesn't look like he has a ton of damage on that race car, so we'll see what he can rebound to. Same with the 21 machine of Rob Lowe. You can see a little bit of damage on the maybe left front fender, but besides that, looks like that car still looks halfway decent here. Once again, like we've seen on the 2 other restarts here, Kenny Rio, Logan Cougar on the front row here. And Logan Cougar still going to be in control. Like we've seen the last couple restarts, the 80 machine fires off just before the 11. Able to get down right in front of him. Both those cars working together. As here we go, Logan Cougar on the loud pedal. We'll see if that 80 machine jumps down to the bottom side. And yes, it is. There is the move. So Logan Cougar down on the bottom side. Now it is Ron Holyfield leading the outside lane in that Pennzoil number 25 machine. He's getting some good pushes. And I tell you what, that bottom side not quite formed on up like the top. Quite a bit of gap to Brandon Guerin and Kenny Reel. This outside lane should be rocking and rolling by the time they get to turn number 3. Cars bouncing off each other. Christian Delgado stuck in the middle here for the time being. You can see Delgado with a big head of steam, just moving cars up out of the way as we get trouble. The 31 of Dan Holcroft somehow hangs onto that race car. Wow, what a save by Holcroft. You saw there right on board with Delgado. That blue 31 machine bounced up and looked like it was facing directly to the wall. Somehow he hangs onto that race car, and we get the white flag. One more lap to go. Out in front, Logan Cougar leads away. Trouble here. Ron Holyfield up and hard into the outside wall. Will collect Shannon Wood. Same with the 7 machine of Chris Proger. Proger going to have a big impact, but down the back stretch for the final time here. And it is looking pretty good for Logan Cougar. Has help behind him. And all 4 drivers working together. Sorry, 3 of the 4 working together right in a line there. The 11, the 1, and the 62 off of turn number 4. Where do the drivers go? Kenny Reel shoots Logan Cougar up and out of the way. They bang doors, they trade some paint, and after the trial, Kenny Reel will pick up the win here at Daytona. Brandon Guerin will finish in second. Logan Cougar will round out the podium. What a great finish, as Shannon Wood will bring that car here to the checkered flag with the damage. As wow, what a finish there. But like I said, I gotta give props, a lot of props to that 31 machine, Dan Holcroft. Maybe not the finish he wanted, but a heck of a save. But the man of the hour, the super speedway ace himself, Kenny Reel here, shows up to Talladega and will walk away with the checkered flag here, as the 11 car will go to victory lane. As I think some teammates congratulating each other there, and some contact going to pit road, but Kenny Reel don't matter because he gets to come to the front stretch and celebrate a checkered flag, as Kenny Reel here adds to the stats. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check, but I believe Kenny Reel having the most wins here in the 802 iRacing League. Yes, he does, coming into tonight with 11. Now we'll stretch it out to 12 career wins as Kenny Reel gets the job done here at Talladega. Reel burning it on down here on the front straightaway, and don't go anywhere, folks, because after this we have our post-race show. Going to be chatting with our top 3 finishers. So after a quick commercial break, we will do that with our post-race show. So don't go anywhere, folks. We got our post-race show coming on up right after this.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Talladega, and we'll be chatting with some drivers here. The first driver we will be talking to is the 80 machine of Logan Cougar. Logan, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I sure do.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, how are we feeling after 85 plus laps here at Talladega? You're able to walk away on the podium and the biggest mover as well.
Yeah, it was a fun night. I had a blast. I thought I was going to get it done there and get the win at my first ever Cup start in this league. Came up just a little bit short there. Kenny had a pretty good run, but he went with me all night. It was a lot of fun up here. Almost got it done.
Yeah, it seemed like a bunch of fun there, but man, I tell you what, I'm sure you had to be thinking a lot during those late race cautions, man. It probably gave your time a lot of time to like have your mind wander and whatnot, which can be a bad thing for a race car driver, right?
Oh yeah, I wanted that race to end so badly. I know every time you're in the leader in these situations, you're always the sitting duck usually, and I was just trying to avoid that. Kenny stayed pretty loyal for as long as he could there. He's trying to win the race. Think he's in the points battle too. So it was a great night though.
Yeah, that it was. It seemed like a great showing by that 80 machine as well as you had some adversity, my man. I think it was the first caution, right? You got caught up in a little bit too.
Yeah, I think I came down on the 32, I think it was earlier on about lap 4 and made a mistake and caused that. And had to come all the way back from that, had a minute of optional, got it all fixed, and drove my way all the way up through the field and nearly won the race.
Yeah, that's definitely a great rebound night, and also no big ones here tonight. We saw 2, 3, sometimes 4 wide racing, but overall, you guys did a great job here tonight, keeping damage to a minimum and cars continuing to race. Do you think it's a next gen car? I think you guys were really taking care of each other pretty nice here tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of this car. You can push a lot harder than you can the other cars. A lot less likely to right hook somebody. Like some of the issues, like the Xfinity / O'Reilly car. If you bump somebody there, you can easily right hook them. The Gen 4, you can do it. The truck, same deal. But in these cars, you can push like crazy, and nothing really, happens other than going at the front. So I think it's a mixture of the car, and then also guys too are being more careful tonight. And there's a lot of guys in the championship battle, so I think that played a role too in it.
Yeah, it definitely does. A lot of stuff going on. But for that white flag lap, you led at the white flag. What could you have done differently there on that final lap looking back at
I wish I protected that bottom a lot more.
it? Yeah, it definitely seemed like that was a move, but it's so tough, right? You see the car behind you starting to shade up. You want to take that run away, but yeah, it's so tough to try and make the right decision because, like you said, being the leader, you always feel like you're a sitting duck there, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, these races always you're kind of in that situation. You just got to hope you're in the right place, right time, and do what you can to try to win the race.
Yeah, that's definitely the case here. And I know you said first start here tonight, what a way to do it up on the podium. But then looking over on the Friday nights with the 802, they're running the Xfinity cars. You, my man, sit second in points over there. Pretty good season so far for you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely got a shot at hopefully winning the championship over there. Cody right now has got a decent lead. I had some bad luck the other night in that league with some computer issues, but we're going to Darlington next week, a place I run pretty dominant at. So I think maybe we can get the win there. Or really, these next group 4 or 5 tracks in that series are really good places to me. We got Martinsville coming up in a couple weeks, North Wilkesboro, Phoenix. So definitely some places I can get another win at.
Oh yeah, definitely some good tracks there. And as you probably know and feel like too, those Xfinity cars, man, are so much fun on the sim, at least compared to these next gen cars where it feels like there's just no feel to them, right? When you really got to sling them.
Oh yeah, I mean the big issue right now is just in my opinion, they've got a little bit of an issue with the setups. They're a little bit tighter at some places, but at other places it's really fun. You can really slip and slide and have a good time with them.
Yeah, for sure, man. And those cars are always a blast. Can't wait to see what you guys got in store at Darlington. As that track car combo, always a good one.
Oh yeah, I love Darlington. It's one of my favorite places, so can't wait to go there.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Well, Logan, once again, congrats on the P number 3 here tonight. That is awesome to see. 1 star up on the podium. Pretty decent, all things considered, especially the wild night you had. So, Logan, before we let you go and celebrate this P number 3, we're going to go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out on the broadcast here.
Yeah, I just want to shout out everybody with this league. 802 does a pretty good job with it. Rob is pretty busy with this. They do an awesome job. Everybody from Sim 500 that's helped with this is a pretty good little league to race in. Can't wait. I know we got the Interleague 500 coming up in a couple weeks. That'll be a lot of fun. People should tune into that as well. And that's pretty much about it.
Alrighty, well, awesome stuff, Logan. We look forward to seeing you on the Friday nights, see what you can do for a championship run, as hopefully we'll see you back in these Cup cars for a select few other starts. But here tonight, my man, have a great one. Once again, congrats on the P number 3. That was awesome.
Yep, thank you.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. The driver that led at the white flag lap brought it home in P number 3. That was Logan Cougar. Now we'll head up to our runner-up finisher, that being the driver of the number 1. It is BG Graphix, Brandon Guerin. Brandon, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I got you, Brett. How we doing, bud?
Man, we are doing pretty good. How are you doing, my man, after 85 plus laps here at Talladega to bring it home P number 2? That's got to feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, I think we talked Friday night when we were in the broadcast, and like, man, I just really want to get a finish. We didn't end up getting one Friday, but we got it tonight. It feels good to just get to the finish. It stinks not getting one position better, but it's really nice to come away with a finish and it being second place.
Yeah, that it is. I mean, you already had kind of a tough night here tonight, and we can talk a little bit more about it if you'd like. But, you know, at least two of your teammates not being here always makes it a little bit tougher, and it seemed like you're able to work on the fly and kind of get a few of your other buddies there in a line there at the end.
Yep. So with Pogo not here, he's down as a 24 hours. Hope he had a good time there. I know they had a little fog delay, but hopefully we put on a show for him. And yeah, Jim just had bad luck there, got turned around, but you know, that's plate racing. And yeah, I kind of got hooked up with the old gang. I got Kenny and Frank. I was surprised there on that last restart after I forget who started, but I think Kip was behind me and they made the move to the outside early. And then I kind of almost panicked a little bit, telling Kenny, I was like, I don't know who's going to push us now. And then next thing you know, Frank's the car that's coming up behind us. And we were like, oh, we're good here. We're good with the 3 of us in line. So, yeah, once we all kind of got together, thanks again. I think last year I won the race. Kenny got second. I think Frank finished 4th then, too. So it kind of stinks not to get him in the podium with us. But because if he's not there, we're not possibly winning this race. So, yeah, we all got back hooked up together. And like I said, it's just good to get a finish this week.
Yeah, that it was, I'm sure, you know, finally ending that bad luck streak, hopefully here tonight at Talladega. And I tell you what, man, this race was pretty good to watch. I mean, there was a lot of comers and goers and a lot of respect on the racetrack. I mean, here tonight, when it's all said and done, over 20 cars finished on the lead lap, and there wasn't really a big one when it's all said and done.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, from what I saw, a couple minor ones. I might have started one in the middle. I don't know if I did. I got to go back and watch it. I think I got into Scott, just a bad push in the tri-oval, and might have started a little something there. I haven't gone back to look at that yet, but if I did, I apologize to him and anybody else that got involved. But yeah, for the most part, I think for a plate race, I thought it was pretty good racing. Like you said, 20 cars finished, so that's good. And yeah, it was racy there the whole time. I thought too wide for most of the race. It was respectful racing.
Yeah, I thought so as well. And you, my man, being up in the podium, you know, that allows you to be eligible for the next No Bull 5 race. That happening in Dover, you know, in a few weeks. How you feeling about that place and trying to get some $20 action?
Well, I don't know. Do I technically get the $20 if I win?
I don't think
I'm
so,
the one
right?
that
You
pays
get to
it.
hand it to yourself,
I get
right?
paid to myself. No, I'll be trying to get a lot of tips from my teammates. I know Pogo's really good at Dover. Jim's obviously really good pretty much almost anywhere we go. So, but yeah, Pogo's really good at Dover. I'm gonna try to get some advice from him. But there's a bunch of other guys I'll have to try to beat now. And yeah, it'll be nice to be one of the 5 eligible. But I don't have the best feeling about a Dover win. But hey, we're gonna go for it. The only thing is though that that'll be now in the playoffs, so I can't just at this point in the season. Like I've been telling Jim and Pogo was I feel like we're all pretty much locked in the playoffs, and we need to be going for wins to get some bonus points to start the playoffs. But once we get to Dover, that's gonna be points racing. We're gonna have a bunch of 3-week seasons, so I can't really go all for it. I gotta be conservative with my points too. So we'll see how that all plans out though.
Yeah, it's for sure should be interesting to see if drivers say, hey, you know what? I want to go for the money versus, hey, I got to think big picture in the championship. Definitely something you guys will have to consider once you guys unload at Dover. But yeah, here tonight at Talladega, Brandon, once again, like you said, up on the podium at a Talladega race, man. It always seems like you're right there. Is there anything different you could have done there on that white flag lap to maybe get that win?
Bail on Kenny and Frank, but I think at that point in my head, I knew I needed to finish because what flashback kind of in my head was I think I was riding behind Kenny in the dual race earlier this year at Daytona, and I kind of did one of those things where I went rogue a little bit, bailed on him and went to the outside, and then eventually got wrecked. So I kind of just wanted to stay in a comfort zone. I know Kenny, I know Frank, and I don't mind being the Oreo cream in the middle of that sandwich. It was a comfortable spot. I know I'm not gonna get wrecked there.
Yeah, I know it was a comfortable spot that led to a comfortable finish, a P number 2 when it's all said and done, Brandon. That's awesome to see. So, you, my man, before we let you go, we got to, of course, thank you and all the support you do, being part of the action and chatting with us. Always appreciate it. But we also got to let you thank some people, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast here tonight.
Yeah, first, as always, shout out the kids, Bryson and Brody. Thanks for them letting Dad race on Sundays. Thank both my teammates, even though Jeff wasn't here. I'll thank Jim. I got new teammates, Chris. I'll thank the old team, obviously, for how we finished that race, Kenny and Frank. Admin team, you putting on the broadcast. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. Thank all my sponsors on the car, mostly Red Bull, and yeah, it's good to get a nice finish here, and hopefully this can swing some momentum. The next couple of races before the playoffs are a little interesting in Darlington and North Wilkesboro, but we'll we'll hopefully get this as the change in the momentum before the playoffs and hopefully make a deep run here.
Yeah, I think so as well. And like you said, it's finally good to be talking to you, Brandon, not during a race, but after it, right up on the podium.
Oh, Brett, as much as sometimes I like coming in the broadcast booth with you or chatting with you, it's a lot more fun when it's a podium. It's a podium interview, but we have fun when we're in the booth together, so I don't mind that either.
Oh, 100%, my man. So it was great talking to you tonight, Brandon. You, my man, have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll be now catching you Friday night as well as, of course, next Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see you in Darlington, Brett.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our runner-up finisher, the one car of Brandon Guerin. Now we'll head down to Victory Lane, talk to the man of the hour. It is the driver of the 11. It is Kenny Reel. Kenny, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, how we feeling after 85 plus laps at Talladega to be down here in Victory Lane once again at a Superspeedway?
Good. Everything went well that race. Everything was executed perfectly. Pit stops, green flag stops. I mean, everything worked out the way I'd wanted to during the race, and can't complain about being back in a Victory Lane on the Superspeedway.
Yeah, I tell you what, it is awesome to see, picking up the win here tonight. We'll start at this talking point, but this now makes it your 12th career win, and you stretch out your lead with the most ever wins in the 802 League, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know there's a few people that have been getting up there with the wins and getting closer to me. I know I haven't been running as many this season as I would want to, but I'm glad I can come out to one of my favorite tracks and get it done like I expect to every time I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. And especially a super speedway, man. I know you're a big fan of these places. And once again, you put on a great class. And it seemed like, I always say the super speedway ace of you because it seems like whenever you show on up, as long as you're there at the end, man, it seems like that 11 machine always in contention.
Yeah, it's always fun. And it's always nice to have people around you that, if you know you're gonna make a move, they're gonna go with you. Like there at the end, I knew if whatever move I made, Brandon would go with me just from being teammates with him in the past. And Logan made actually a really good block off turn 4, and I was able to get back to his inside, and Brandon ended up coming with me, and then I had a teammate behind him, so it all worked out in the end. But all in all, it's always nice having people around you that will work with you and push you there at the end.
Yeah, and I tell you what, like you said, you had your teammates. It was almost like a little bit of throwback to the old school back a little bit ago, the Penny Stackers team, right? With all you guys working together on the bottom side. And I want to say it was very similar finish to the last time at Talladega, except I think you and Brandon swapped spots as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, I told him that race that I was gonna push him to a win, and I wasn't gonna leave him, and I ended up pushing him to the win. So I got him that one win that one time, and I guess he repaid the favor here. So it's always nice to know that you gotta, even though he's not a teammate, he's still a friend, and he'll go with me in those situations.
Yeah, that it does. It always makes a big difference, especially there at the end of a race where you know who you can trust and whatnot. And yeah, Kenny here tonight down in victory lane. This actually makes you eligible for the next No Bull 5 race where the next one's at Dover. If you win, you can walk home with $20 provided by BG Graphics. So I know you're out there hunting the checkered flags. This might get you a little extra reason to show up to Dover. How you feel about that place?
Yeah, I actually really like Dover, so and it's gonna be especially with this new package and how tight it is in dirty air. It's gonna be about keeping care of your equipment, taking care of your equipment, and just being able to take care of them tires and execute all night. Dover is a hard track, and if you tear up your stuff, you're just gonna go backwards pretty quick. But all in all, I'm pretty good at Dover, at least from the past. I like it. It's a pretty good track, and it's a technical track, and not everybody can run it well. So it's gonna show really who can drive the car, even in dirty air. And really, it's all about gonna be getting that clean air. So we're gonna see what we can do.
Yeah, that place is always known to be in about, like you said, that clean air as well as the dynamic track of the concrete on there. Always throws a little bit extra curveball on how these cars feel and whatnot. But yeah, that should be exciting. Well, but yeah, here from night from Talladega, no real big ones, anything like that. And you, Kenny, real down here in Victory Lane. So before we let you go and celebrate this win, career win number 12, that is, we're going to go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors with this new paint scheme. I do like the paint scheme as well. Teammates and anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast.
I just want to give a shout out to all my teammates over at Penny Stackers, and give a shout out to Brandon for pushing me there, to Logan, yeah, for trusting me, even though I had to go for the win. He knew it, so I mean he would have done the same thing. But it was nice working with him, and I know Kip, and I was working with Delgado in the race. All those people were nice to work with, and want to shout out Jack Shack Racing, and also I know Eric W's in the chat. I see him; he's always rooting me on when he sees me in a race. I just want to give him a shout out as well, and appreciate you for doing the broadcast.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Yeah, Kenny, you had a fan club in there tonight, so awesome. You can shout them out. So you, my man, have yourself a great rest tonight. Always great seeing you out on track, and yeah, we will look forward to for sure, hopefully seeing you at Dover and see if you can walk away with some cold hard cash there.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was Kenny Real down in Victory Lane here tonight from Talladega. picking up the win and now making it career win number 12. And like I said before, folks, he has the most wins of anyone in the 802 with now 12 wins to his name. So let's get things wrapping on up here late in this one. So once again, we got to thank all the live viewers, all the replay viewers tuning on in. And of course, we got to give a shout out to Eric, Jeff, Dan, and I think Jason Wiley out there as well. All you guys jumping in the YouTube chat land, giving me something to chat about, as well as all of us having a good time. So appreciate everyone tuning on in. Let's go over tonight's race results here from race number 16 at Talladega. So Kenny Reel picks up the win. Brandon Guerin will bring it home second, and Logan Cougar rounds out the podium. Frank Zingen will finish in fourth. CVS will round out the top five, so a good finish there from our pole sitter. Joe Hudson will get a top 10 finish. He will finish in sixth. Seventh going to Joey Gattina. Stoney Benfield will finish in eighth. Christian Delgado in ninth. And Aiden Tatro, winning on Friday night, will finish with a top 10 here tonight. Kip Easley will finish in 11th, the best finisher of the eligible No Bull 5 drivers. Rob Lowell will finish in 12th, 13th going to Scott Simley. Steve Ritter will finish in 14th, 15th going to Dan Holcroft. 16th is Mike Strickland. 17th going to Steve Vest. 18th is Tyler Bellinger. Finishing in 19th was Ariba Caton and Mike Fudge rounding out the top 20. 21st going to Brian Wortman. 22nd is Richard Beasley. 23rd is Shannon Wood. And Ron Holyfield will finish 24th and the last car on the lead lap. That's awesome to see. 25th will be Bryson Anderson. Eli Raposa will bring it home in 26th. Chris Proger in 27th. Landon Audit will bring it home 28th. Mike Kelly will finish 29th. And Nick Larson rounds out the top 30. Johnny Barker in 31st. 32nd going to Jim Ott. Chad Coleman in 33rd. And Kevin Stone here tonight will finish in 34th, rounding out the field here tonight. So that'll do it here for race number 16 at Talladega. And now, I believe, let me just triple check my numbers just to be sure. But now, only 2 races left the next 2 weeks in the regular season, Darlington and North Wilkesboro. Then the playoffs kick on off, and you won't want to miss that because it's 3 rounds and 5 drivers get eliminated after those 3 rounds. So that'll do it here tonight. We got to thank all of our partners and sponsors, first being with the 802 boys. First, we got to thank each of the drivers here tonight, record setting, I think this season, 34 drivers. That is awesome to see. Appreciate each and every one of them being part of the show for all of us to enjoy, as well as the admin team and the sponsors, that being BG Graphix, Riptide Radio, GStone Motorsports, as well as Stone Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. If you want to find out more, check them out at 802 iRacing on Facebook. Turn 3 Racing Network is also partnered on up, and that's with that logo in the bottom right of your screen. Premier Setup Shops. You can find out more with the link in the description. That will take you over to their website. Let them know that we sent you as well, and that would be greatly appreciated. Even if you don't buy anything, a click would go a long way. So that'll do it here for myself. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network. Turn 3 has some great sim racing product pretty much every day of the week here on the channel. So if you're bored, want some background noise, be sure to tune on in and check out Turn 3, as we have a lot of good stuff to offer each and every night. So that'll do it here from tonight from Talladega. Everyone take care, stay safe, have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you Friday night with the Busch Series, and then of course be back in 1 week's time with the Winston Cup Series at Darlington. So I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.